Well, there's a new movie that we've talked about a little bit on this show called Focus. Will Smith and Margot Robbie are in that, and we have a great actor on that's going to talk about that, his role in Gotham, some commercials, tons of great stuff happening for him. His name is Adrian Martinez. Adrian, thank you so much for fitting this into your schedule.
My pleasure. I was only going to go to a chicken rotisserie today and look at it cook, so I was happy to do it.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, let's talk about this film, Focus. Obviously, some big names you get to work with. Will Smith, Margot Robbie's career, she's blowing up, of course, right now. And tell everybody a little bit about the film and then what your role is.
Well, Focus is really about where you put the focus in your life. I mean, that's how I always interpreted it as I read the script. I mean, it's like we all have to get up every day and really kind of decide, do I put the focus in my business, or do I put the focus in my family? Am I spending enough time with my kid? Am I cheating on my wife? Am I cheating on my girlfriend? Am I trying to stay faithful to the relationships I have and really nurture them? And all these kind of issues kind of pop up during this movie. But it's also a very cool and sexy piece with great stars. And you get to see me do all these torrid love scenes with Margot Robbie.
It sounds like you're also the comic relief for the film, and I know everybody just praises Will Smith working with him. He's a giving actor and just so down to earth. But what's it like to do comic relief alongside Will?
Listen, he was really open and accessible from day one. I remember sitting in an ambulance and sweating profusely under the lights that they had in there. And he took a hanky out of his pocket and started dabbing my head and really cool about it. And like he didn't know me from Adam, and he was just really present. Of course, he blew his nose first, but still, I just felt like, he was really there for me. And then there were times that we would improvise, and he would start the improvisation, and I would go there with him. And so whatever craziness I would come up with, he didn't bat an eye. There's a scene in Buenos Aires when I get out of a car in a very particular way, and he did not break character and was able to make the movie because he just didn't break character. So he was able to just be there for me as an actor, and that's all you can hope for.
Well, it sounds like there's also a lot of creative liberty on set here with this and working with Will. Is that something that you guys kind of went in knowing that was going to be the way it is, or is that just how it's going to be if you're working with Will Smith?
I had no idea. I mean, I had my hopes that he was going to be cool, and he turned out to be beyond cool. He turned out to be like sunlight because when he walked into a room, everyone just sort of felt uplifted. There were times when it was like 3 a.m. and everybody was dragging, and he was just like dancing. And he'd be like, "Come on, let's play some music." And he would get jiggy with it. And the next thing you know, we're all like getting it going. Our spirits are picked up. He's really like a ringmaster at a circus.
What did you tap into to play this character? I'm sure I don't want to get his name wrong. Farhad, is that how we say his name?
Yeah, it's Farhad. He's a Persian. He's a con man. But beyond all that kind of stuff, the one thing that I really latched onto was that he's completely faithful to the people in his life. And in this case, it's Nikki, played by Will Smith. And in my life, I'm the same way. Like, if I love you, like, I love you to death, and that's it. There's nothing I won't do for you. And so you would have to then consider that for Farhad, because he goes all over the world doing these kind of things, these cons with this sort of Ocean's 11 type gang, and there's nothing he won't do for Nikki. So when Margot's character pops up, it kind of like throws him, because like, who is this woman? I mean, she's beautiful, but what's her motive? And so that's kind of like, it gets my hairs up, because I feel like I'm like Nikki's pit bull, and I gotta look out for him.
It's a very interesting film, folks. You want to check that out. That is called Focus. It opens February 27th in theaters wide, and make sure you keep your eyes and ears out for that. We'll link to a trailer so you can catch a little glimpse of that and see Adrian in action alongside Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and a great cast and a great feature film from Warner Brothers. But Adrian's also lucked into some just great timing, too. It's, to be able to get an acting gig on a show like this. Nobody really quite knew what to expect of Fox's Batman prequel series. There was a lot of back and forth with other superhero projects in the works, and Gotham has got a very dark and edgy feel to it. People are loving it. I know I can't wait, but I'm a comic book geek, so it's easy for me. Give everybody, you got to play a little role on there called Irwin, and what is a little bit of the set atmosphere? How do they kind of go about putting this together? Because it is a kind of a different approach than some of the other comic book projects that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of episodic work in New York. I did the Triple Crown of the Law and Orders, the Law and Order original, the Criminal Intent, and the SVU. I played a perp, a cop, and a witness.
Well, you haven't played a dead body, so I might call you back.
I played a mentally disabled guy, and I didn't have to audition, so there you go. And that's a true story. But Gotham, I tell you, is really special because they shoot it out. The stages are in Brooklyn, and they shoot all over the city. And the one thing I noticed was that they are just like a machine. They are so quick and fast with the shots. I mean, it's like one take, maybe two tops, and they're done, and they're moving on, and everything's fast and set up. And it's hard for a guest star like myself to sort of like have to jump in on this moving train. But I did the best I could, and I tell you, it came out nice. But they are really sharp, man. That's one of the best crews I've ever been on because they just move like lightning.
When you look back at your other career work, you mentioned, some of the other, Law and Order type stuff, CSI type stuff, those kinds of projects, and a multitude of TV stuff. You kind of latch on to something that somebody kind of gave you some advice and that kind of thing, like give you a little bit of coaching on like how to handle that kind of, one-off work and kind of be able to jump in like that?
You just have to be really prepared and just know that you're not going to get a lot of, lovey-dovey coaching on set, Time is money. I mean, these episodics, the budget for a weekly starts at $2 million, and they don't really have a lot of time to really just, hey, how you feeling today? So you got to make sure you do your homework, you come prepared, you know your lines, and then you just dive in.
Let's go a little bit of a different approach. Obviously, doing national spots for State Farm was definitely a big deal right now. And obviously, being on anything that's being shown when the NFL playoffs is going to make it a huge thing. So, can everybody was that just a standard audition process to go in for something like that with the commercials, or they pretty much handled all kind of the same way? Give everybody a little insight on how you ended up on the State Farm gig. Well,
that was kind of just another day at the office. I just went in for an audition. I didn't know anything about it really, and I just they had me walk in with three other guys, and we all stood on the line, literally. And they just said, okay, just say Rogers Discount Double Check. This one guy dressed up like completely in cheesehead gear. He had his face painted green and yellow. And I was like, what's this guy about? I mean, talk about trying too hard. And I just said, I just said the line, Rogers Discount Double Check. And then the director said, could you just say it louder? And then I have a big mouth, and I said it louder, and the walls literally shook. And the next thing I knew, I was in Green Bay and doing the scene with Aaron.
That's fantastic. What a great
sometimes
story.
It pays to have a big mouth.
Well, you got to be able to get your words in there, make your presence known, I think.
Yeah, and I think the key for me though was that besides the volume, I just really took a moment to see him walking across the office, to really look at him. I took a moment to really emotionally get into the fact that here was Superman. That's how I interpreted it. Like I'm watching Superman in action. So I put a little emotional weight to it, because the thing about acting is that even if it's a commercial or a TV show or a movie, the approach as the actor is the same. You have to really have the imaginary circumstances set up in your mind, and you have to really go for it emotionally, no matter how long the work is. So that was my approach.
You a big sports fan? Was this an easy thing for you to transition into?
Oh, I love football. I am a Packers fan, and I was in heaven. And when we did Focus, I was, literally on the hallowed ground of the Superdome, and my head would have exploded. I mean, I would have done it for nothing, but don't tell Warner's that.
He wants double next time for the sequel. And he wants to be able to keep Will Smith's snotty hanky. You also have some great ones coming up, and we actually just did an interview. We were talking about Neil Patrick Harris, his work on American Horror Story, which to me has just been absolutely amazing work. And you get to work with him, get to do some Heine commercials, and give everybody a little sneak preview of what they're gonna get a dose of.
He's a showman. I mean, no one does a host better than he does, and he was actually telling me between takes that he was concerned about hosting the Oscars, and I actually told him, listen, you're the guy. You could dance, you can sing, you're funny, you're just going to nail this. And he was like, yeah, but it's 6 months of your life, and then, maybe you nail it and maybe you don't. And I was like, dude, are you kidding? You're going to nail this so bad. And the spot for Heineken, I don't know when it's coming out, but it was just me kind of like pretending that all he ever did was commercials, like he's not done anything else. And so it's pretty funny, and I hope it resonates with the audience because it's pretty funny there.
Awesome stuff. We're talking to Adrian Martinez. A lot of great projects in the works. Talking about Focus, which comes out February 27th. Obviously, Gotham, which is blowing up on Fox. If you're not catching up on that, I don't even know what's wrong with you. You're probably listening to the wrong radio show. Such a comic book geek. We talk about this stuff all the time. And, of course, great commercial, State Farm, and now the Heineken coming. And, you know, Adrian, I want to give you a chance to talk about, because you do some work and really kind of get involved with the National Association of Latino Independent Producers. And give everybody a little bit about what that organization's about. It's NALIP.org, folks, if you want to check that out. But to give them a little idea of, why are you there? Why are you behind that? And what do they do?
Listen, they were the first people, kind of like the Sundance before Latinos, and they were like the first major organization to give me some love, not just as an actor, but as a writer-director. Back in 2007, I did a workshop that they sponsored. They flew me out to New Mexico, and they loved the script I wrote called Manny, and I was able to shoot scenes from that script with a professional crew. I was able to direct it and produce it and edit it, and, that was the first time I felt like I could do more than just acting. And since then, I've developed some other scripts, and it's going to be a big announcement at Time Warner at South by Southwest about this next project I'm doing. But it really started with Nalip, and it started with that program that, to have a major organization say, hey, not only do we believe in you, but here's some money to actually help you realize your dreams. I mean, that doesn't happen every day, and I'm very grateful to them.
Nalip.org, that's NALIP.org. We'll link to that as well, folks. You can check that out. Adrian Martinez talking about some different projects he has going on. You make sure you get your tickets. Focus, February 27th, is a big project. Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and Adrian Martinez starring right there alongside as, quote, comic relief. I look forward to it very, very much. And Adrian, I can't thank you enough for your time to be able to fit us in.
Dude, I really appreciate it. I'm just so grateful. Thank you very much.